In this section, we are going to discuss about synchronous motor, that is, difference between induction motor and synchronous motor, principle of operation of synchronous motor, methods of starting synchronous motor, and finally, phasor diagram under loaded and no load conditions.
First of all, let's discuss the difference between induction motor and synchronous motor. So, synchronous motor is a doubly excited motor, whereas induction motor is a singly excited motor.
For synchronous motor,
we have to give three-phase supply to its stator and DC supply is to be given to the field winding. Whereas in the case of induction motor, we have to give three-phase supply to stator only. Rotor need not be excited. Therefore, induction motor is a singly excited motor. And second point is induction motor is self-starting, whereas synchronous motor is not self-starting. And third point is the speed of synchronous motor will not change with load and it will be constant if frequency is constant. But the speed of induction motor decreases slightly with increase in load. And fourth point is the operating power factor of synchronous motor can be varied by varying the field excitation, that is field current. If the field current is high, that means if the machine is over excited, the motor is operating in leading power factor of operation. Similarly, corresponding to under excited condition, the motor is operating at lagging power factor. But in the case of induction motor, the power factor of operation depends on the load and machine parameters, that is resistors and inductors. It is always operated at lagging power factor of operation. And fifth point is the construction of synchronous motor is complex compared to induction motor. And next point is it can be used for supplying torque to drive mechanical load as well as power factor correction, as by changing the excitation we can control the power factor. It is also used for power factor correction, but that is not possible in the case of induction motor. It is used only for supplying torque to drive the mechanical load. And next point is synchronous motor is more efficient than induction motor of same output and voltage rating. Compared to synchronous motor, induction motor is less efficient than synchronous motor of same output and voltage rating. Next point is it is costlier, that is synchronous motor is costlier than induction motor of same output and voltage rating. Induction motor is cheaper than synchronous motor of same output and voltage rating. And next point is synchronous motor become cheaper than an equivalent induction motor for large power, that is greater than 50 kilowatt, and low speed, that is less than 600 rpm application. As synchronous motor is beneficial for low speed application, usually synchronous motor is of salient pole type. Coming to induction motor side, induction motor is costlier than equivalent synchronous motor for large power and low speed application.
now let's discuss the principle of operation of synchronous motor.
When a three-phase winding is fed by a three-phase supply, a rotating magnetic field of constant magnitude which is rotating at synchronous speed is produced. Let's consider a two-pole stator. The stator poles are marked as N, S and SS. This is the stator part and this is the rotor. So whenever three-phase supply is given to these stator windings, a rotating magnetic field is generated which is rotating at synchronous speed, say in clockwise direction. At first, let's consider the rotor is stationary and suppose the stator poles are at the instant situated A and B as shown in figure. Here, as seen in this figure, two similar poles are coming in alignment at A and at B. Due to these two similar poles, a repulsive force is coming into picture. So due to this repulsive force on both point A and point B, rotor tried to rotate in opposite direction as that of the synchronously rotating magnetic field. So the result is the rotor tends to rotate in anti-clockwise direction. Rotor poles and stator poles repels and rotor tends to rotate in anti-clockwise direction. So since we are giving three-phase AC supply, assume the supply is having frequency 50 Hz. As supply frequency is 50 Hz, after half period later, that is after each 10 millisecond, polarity of stator pole will change. That is under A, the polarity of stator pole become SS, and under B the polarity of stator pole become NS. Before 10 millisecond what happens? The rotor tends to rotate in anti-clockwise direction. But immediately after 10 millisecond there is an attractive force is coming. So under A and B opposite polarity of the poles will come into picture. That is, there is an alignment between south pole of the stator and north pole of the rotor at point A, and at point B there is an alignment between north pole of the stator and south pole of the rotor. So based on magnetic principle, some attractive force is coming. So rotor tries to rotate in clockwise direction, which is same as that of the rotating magnetic field. Thus we find that due to continuous and rapid rotation of the stator poles, the rotor is subjected to a torque. So in this case, rotor tries to rotate in clockwise direction, which is same as that of the rotating magnetic field. Again, after 10 millisecond, what happens? The polarity of the stator pole become like this, like in first case. Under this condition, a torque is developed on the rotor, which tends to rotate the rotor in anti-clockwise direction. After next 10 milliseconds, the rotor tries to rotate in clockwise direction. So there is a quickly reversing torque is coming due to the change of the stator poles. So due to continuous and rapid rotation of the stator poles, the rotor is subjected to a torque which is rapidly reversing, that is quickly reversing torque. The rotor is subjected to a torque which tends to move it first in one direction, then after 10 millisecond in opposite direction. Direction of torque is going on changing. So due to its large inertia, rotor cannot respond instantaneously to such a quickly reversing torque, with the result that the rotor remains stationary. Now let's consider the rotor is stationary, but it is driven in clockwise direction, that is the same direction as that of the rotating magnetic field, with such a speed that it turns through one pole pitch by the time the stator poles interchanges their position. In this case, what happens? If we are doing like this, here again stator and rotor poles attract each other. It means that if the rotor poles also shifted their position along with the stator pole changes, then they will continuously experience a unidirectional torque such that the rotor is moving along with the stator poles continuously. Therefore, in order to achieve the production of synchronous torque, the rotor must be made to rotate by means of some external means. So, to produce unidirectional torque in synchronous motor, its rotor must be made to rotate near to synchronous speed by means of external mean. This external means may be by utilizing the constructional behavior of the rotor or by means of external motor or pony motor. Now let's discuss starting methods. So it is clear that steady state electromagnetic torque is developed in synchronous motor only when magnetic locking between stator and rotor field take place. Therefore, the rotor must be brought up to a speed equal to the synchronously rotating magnetic field for the production of steady state electromagnetic torque. This can be accomplished by two methods. First one is using auxiliary motor. This auxiliary motor is a small motor which is used for rotating the rotor of the synchronous motor initially. This auxiliary motor may be either induction motor or DC motor. And second method is by using induction motor, or it is also known as damper winding starter. First of all, let's consider auxiliary motor starting. This is the stator of the synchronous motor. Whenever three-phase supply is given to the stator, a rotating magnetic field is generated which is rotating at synchronous speed. Say at the point of consideration, this is the polarity of the pole in stator, that is SS and NS. This is the rotor. Rotor is having field winding. This field winding is energized by means of DC supply. And the rotor is coupled mechanically by means of auxiliary motor. So if auxiliary motors is energized, this rotor of the synchronous motor also start to rotate. Whenever the speed of the rotor is achieved near to synchronous speed, whenever the field winding is energized, rotor poles are induced. So magnetic locking between stator poles and rotor poles come into picture. Thereafter, a continuous unidirectional torque is developed on the rod and rotor continuously rotate at a speed equal to synchronous speed. Auxiliary motors start become more effective if we are connecting a resistance across the field winding during the starting time. So just like in the case of induction motor, whenever three-phase supply is given, a rotating magnetic field is generated. Since the rotor is stationary and this rotor is having some windings, what happens? An EMF is induced on this winding, a current is circulated, and if we are connecting high value of resistance, starting torque will increase, just like in the case of slip ring induction motor. If we are providing this type of provision, the speed of the rotor achieves at faster rate compared to auxiliary motor only. And after reaching the speed of the rotor near to synchronous speed, we can energize the DC supply and rotor poles are induced, and after that magnetic locking between stator and rotor will take place and rotor will continuously rotate at synchronous speed. This auxiliary motor may be induction motor or DC motor. This induction motor can be used in two ways. The first case is the auxiliary induction motor and synchronous motor is having same number of poles. And second case is auxiliary induction motor pole is equal to 2 number less than the number of poles in the case of synchronous motor. In first case, first of all, the auxiliary three-phase induction motor brings the main motor speed, that is synchronous motor speed, almost equal to synchronous speed. At this time, the armature winding, that is stator winding of the synchronous motor is also energized from three-phase supply. Now, when the field winding of the main motor is energized by connecting it with the DC source, the field pole get locked with the stator pole. As a result of this, main motor starts running as synchronous motor at synchronous speed. In second case, if we are using auxiliary induction motor with 2-pole fever, then induction motor runs the main motor, that is synchronous motor, above the synchronous speed. After this, the induction motor is switched off and the synchronous motor is switched on to three-phase supply. When the speed of the set is just above the synchronous speed, then we can switch on the DC supply to the field winding. Whenever DC supply is given to the field winding, field poles are energized and magnetic locking between stator pole and rotor pole coming to picture, and thereafter rotor continuously rotate at synchronous speed. If the synchronous motor is coupled with the DC machine, the DC machine is first run as DC motor. The synchronous machine now operates as synchronous generator and it is synchronized with three-phase supply system in the usual manner. If the DC motor is now switched off, the main motor start running as synchronous motor. So next method is induction motor starting. Here we are utilizing the constructional behavior of synchronous motor. In order to make synchronous motor self-starting, a damper winding is embedded in slots in rotor pole shoes. This winding is short-circuited at both ends by means of metal ring. The damper winding is exactly similar to the squirrel cage winding of three-phase induction motor. When three-phase supply is given to three-phase armature winding, a rotating magnetic field is established. This rotating magnetic field generate or induce an EMF in the damper bars. Damper bars are closed by means of end rings. When the rotating magnetic field is sweeping fast over the stationary damper bars, EMF is induced in it because of the relative speed between damper bars and rotating magnetic field. Since the damper bars are short-circuited, a current to flow through the damper bars. Therefore, the magnetic field set up by this current interact with the rotating magnetic field and a torque is developed. The direction of the torque is in such a way that to oppose every cause it produces.
Because of this torque, rotor rotate in such a direction as to reduce the relative speed between rotating magnetic field and the rotor. Hence, the rotor rotate in the same direction as that of the rotating magnetic field, such as to catch its speed up. But the rotor speed is always less than the speed of the rotating magnetic field, as we know in the case of induction motor. If the field winding now energized from DC source, the rotor and stator pole will lock together and a unidirectional torque will produce. After that, the rotor rotates at constant speed, that is synchronous speed. This is the procedure we are adopting in the case of induction motor start. This method of starting is provided in the case of synchronous motor only when the rotor is having damper bars. This is the stator, this is the rotor, and rotor is having field winding, and rotor is having slot to accommodate damper windings, and these damper windings are short circuited in both sides by means of end rings. Whenever three-phase supply is given to the stator winding, a rotating magnetic field is generated which is rotating at synchronous speed. So as discussed earlier, due to the presence of damper bars, these rotors start to rotate in same direction as that of the rotating magnetic field, and it achieves a speed near to synchronous speed. So whenever the speed of the rotor becomes near to synchronous speed, we can energize the field winding of the rotor by means of DC supply. Then rotor poles are induced and magnetic locking between these two will take place, and rotor continues to rotate at a speed equal to synchronous speed. So here also we can connect a high value of resistance across the field winding during starting time. So in this method, two torques are developed on the rotor. One is due to damper winding and one is due to the field winding. Since this high value of resistance on the rotor windings aids the starting torque, so it will provide quick starting and the speed is reaching near to synchronous speed fastly. And after reaching the speed of the rotor near to synchronous speed, we can put the switch into position number 2 and energize the field winding by means of DC supply. After that, field poles are induced on the rotor and magnetic locking will take place. Now let's see the phasor diagram of cylindrical rotor synchronous motor in general. In synchronous motor, a back EMF EB is set up in armature by the rotor flux, which opposes the applied voltage. This back EMF depends on rotor field excitation only. Therefore, this EMF is known as an excitation EMF. The net voltage in armature is represented by ER, which is the vector difference between V and back EMF. So first of all, let's consider no load and there is no losses. When motor is operating at no load and with no losses, this is the terminal voltage and this is the back EMF. So when motor is operating at no load and with no losses, EB is equal to V and they are direct opposition. If the motor is on no load, but if it is having some losses, it will take a small current in order to meet the losses. Therefore, the phasor diagram under this condition is, this is the terminal voltage. In order to meet the losses, it is taking a current IA0. Say it is lagging voltage by an angle phi 0. Then due to this current, some voltage drop is developed in armature. That voltage drop is IA0ZS, which is leading IA0 by an angle theta, where theta is equal to tan inverse XS by RA. So the vector difference between V and ER gives the back EMF EB. In synchronous motor, V is equal to EB plus I into ZS. An angle between EB and V is load angle delta. Now let's consider the loaded condition. Corresponding to loaded condition, armature current has to meet the load and losses. Consider excitation is adjusted in such a way that the motor is working at lagging power factor of operation. Let V is taken as the reference and armature current IA is lagging V by an angle phi. Then voltage drop, which is developed due to current in armature winding, that is IA into ZS, is leading IA by an angle theta, where theta is equal to tan inverse XS by RA. And this is the back EMF. Here it is clear that corresponding to lagging power factor of operation, motor is under excited. The angle between V and EB is load angle delta.